Mr. John Williams.
The first time I met the pastor was just prior to my accepting the Lord, and I was in his living room, and during that time I had been approached by about every religious organization and cult there was. I guess the devil knew I was close. And the pastor tried to speak to me about accepting the Lord, and all I did for about a half an hour is just yell at him and tell him, just get off my back, you know. But I could tell you a lot of stories, but there's a lot of couples that preach and teach, but there's few that live what they preach and teach. I know that the pastor has had several times when he could have become very wealthy, but instead he chose the gospel and he chose you. Oftentimes you don't really know what you have until you lose it, and I think tonight we all realize that we're going to lose a rose. And if anyone's not serving the Lord, it's not because of their example. And I just want to thank them for giving us their lives.
Each of those who have come tonight, Sue Morris is coming next, but each of those that have come have spoken from their heart. And they say you never know a man till you work with him. And I worked with Pastor Hickam for 6 years here at the church, and I think he's the greatest. I have nothing but respect for the man. I've seen him in a lot of different situations. We've been in some tight situations, haven't we, Wilson? A couple of times I thought he was going to get poked, and a couple of times he thought I was. And we've been in some situations where that you had to keep sweet, and the grace of the Lord really worked for us. But after you worked with a man 6 years and had him for a pastor and a close friend for as long as I have, and can't find anything wrong to say about the guy, he's got to be good. Sue, would you come, please? There you go.
Okay, I'm told 3 minutes. And any of you that know sanguines from cholerics, you know I've only got 3 minutes. And if it's 3 minutes, it's a miracle. I have nothing written on this paper, I want you all to know. I had many things I wanted to say to Pastor Anita, and I thought of writing them down, and I told Jackie I wouldn't come up tonight, and it was too hard. And I looked at Mayo after I got off the phone, and I said she'd be there saying thank you if she could be tonight. We know how much my mom loved Pastor and Nita. And I think, being the sanguine personality like her, I'm feeling privileged to stand here in her behalf tonight. She loved you both very much. And I'm going to share a few things that have stayed in my mind. A lot of people have shared some really comical things about Pastor, but I've got to tell you, I find nothing comical about him. In fact, the first time, almost 13 years ago to the very week, I accepted the Lord here with my sister. And I find that interesting, too, that it's this soon, close to the date that I accepted the Lord. But from the time I met this man, I had nothing but intimidation from him until I got to know him better. He's not a sanguine. He's not a person that will show much emotion. But I remember going into his office when I wanted to tell him how I wanted to go to Egypt and I wanted to go in the mission field. And you kind of go into his office with trembling. Pastor Hickam will see you now. And I remember going into his office, and I remember how big his hand seemed when he took your hand and he'd say, "What is it, Sue?" And I would say, "Well, Pastor, I just really feel like the Lord's calling me to the mission field." Praise the Lord. And I'll never forget those moments that his voice, I know God's voice can't be like this. I know it has to be like this, because I always felt that Pastor just resembled total awe, just total awe. I always came out of there feeling like I had really been with the Lord. And how However, as I got to know him a little better, I realized that he wasn't the awesome person we set out to see him as, or he portrays to be. In fact, to this day, I don't know why he doesn't need to see Steve Anderson for his back because of the way he sits in a chair. Any of you who have ever had him for dinner, he never sits up straight. Now, let's admit, he has to slouch, and if I didn't have a dress on tonight, I would show you. But he has to slouch, and in fact, he slouched so much at my sister Jane's one night, he fell out of the chair. And I wasn't even there for that, but the girls had shared that with me, and I said, yes, he does that at mine. He sits in the rocking chair until his feet are almost touching flat on the ground. But I'll tell you, putting everything aside, I'm excited tonight for him. I wanted to say in public to both Nita and Pastor that I'm excited for you. I'm sad for ourselves, but I'm excited because of what you've left us. I'm excited for what you've done for my family. I think I speak for all 5 of us, and my brother, and my dad, who's here tonight. I think you've been a tremendous influence in all of our lives. I know you have been on mine. You brought many visions and hopes and dreams that I didn't think were possible. Because of your encouragement in my faith, they came to pass. I love you, Pastor and Nita.
Rella Langley, are you here? Where are you? Rella's coming. She said, Leo, I don't know, I may cry, but we know she won't cry. Praise the Lord.
Pastor Hickam and Nita, I wanted to say thank you for all you've done for us. You've been with my family through thick and thin, and I thank you for that. We came here in 71, I believe it was, right after our youngest was born. And we started attending the church down at the little chapel. In 73, I think it was, Pastor Hickam decided he was going to go to Tanzania, Africa, and my son was asked to go, and I thought, oh Lord, I don't know if I can handle this or not, my son going way off like that, because I'm one of these mothers that likes all my hens, little chicks right under her skirt, and I had to let go, and it was kind of tough. But Pastor Hickam, you took good care of him. You brought him home, and he got married. So we thought that was pretty neat, and he got a nice wife, so we're thankful for that. But Nita, you have been just a precious friend to me. I've had 2 real good friends in my life, and you're one of them, and I thank you for that. Pastor Hickam, you initiated way back that us having to get together and have prayer. Nita was my prayer partner, and we had some precious times together with the Lord. And I thank God for that. It was just so precious. And I'm going to miss you like you won't believe, but I'm going to follow you too. So just when you see me coming, just make a bed for me, okay? I love yous.